Now, we've talked about how horrible the Amazon is, but you just mentioned it. There's somehow also a lot of indigenous people along the way. I think a lot of people would think this time and period, everything we just talked about, there wouldn't be a lot of people along the way. But while there is all of those horrible things, there's still plenty of indigenous people if they were willing to actually talk to you, I guess I should say.
Sure, it's improbable, but pretty much every 50 miles or so, these can keep, and granted, 50 miles can sometimes take 10 days, to go. But yeah, there's another village or even cities of people that over the millennia have managed to survive and flourish in many cases. And they were around. And in most cases, they cooperated with the English and they also cooperated with the Spanish because they were forced to and helped the expeditions.
I do want to talk about one specific set of people, indigenous people. That would be the folks who apparently had faces in their chests. So they did not have heads. Their faces were in their chest, in between their shoulder blades. And this sounds like something that one person would make up, but this actually kind of comes up a few times, that there are these people who everybody swears exists, and they don't have heads, they just have faces in their chest, right?
Yeah, at one point, Walter Raleigh, in his first expedition in search of Eldorado, was contemplating ascending a series of giant waterfalls, which would take a lot of doing. And he had a relatively small force. I guess this is what you were referring to before. He had, I think, 50 or 60 guys who'd branched off from his larger force. And his guide said, well, I don't think you want to go over these falls, even if you could, with this number of men, because even with your swords and your guns, you're going to come up against the Iwe Panoma, who are these people that don't have heads, but their faces are on their chests. And Raleigh had heard about them before. There was a book previously, The Travels of John Mandeville, an English adventure book, maybe in the 15th century, give or take a century, where Mandeville had described exactly such a people somewhere else, I think in Africa. And I think that there was some mention of them in Herodotus. So I guess this wouldn't be unanalogous to like a Yeti or a Bigfoot sighting. I don't think that Raleigh quite believed it, but he decided not to proceed really because of weather. The rainy season was about to pounce on him. So he turned back at that point.